Should anybody want Aaron Rodgers going forward?
Well, so the answer to that question is no.
Why it is not a universally held opinion that Aaron Rodgers is playing his final games in the NFL is beyond me.
I don't know what you do with Aaron Rodgers. I don't remember a great quarterback, John, ending a career like this.
Aaron Rodgers and the New Jersey Jets made headlines in the offseason when Aaron Rodgers acknowledged that if things didn't improve this season, everyone would be gone. And now, 13 weeks through the 2024 NFL season, the head coach and general manager have both been fired. The offensive coordinator's been reassigned. The defensive coordinator is now the interim head coach, and for the first time since becoming the starter for the Green Bay Packers in 2008, Aaron Rodgers is facing the cold reality of being benched for poor performance for the remainder of the season. Before we get to the content, we are on the race to 3,000 subscribers. Please remember to like and subscribe to help us get there, and turn on those notifications so that you don't miss an upload. The New Jersey Jets made a huge New York media splash in the 2023 offseason when they traded with the Green Bay Packers for Aaron Rodgers. The objective of the trade was pretty clear: emulate the moves of the Buccaneers and Rams, who each traded for or signed experienced, reliable quarterbacks, like Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford, and immediately won the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers acknowledged the mission in his introductory press conference.
I noticed walking in this morning that Super Bowl III trophy is looking a little lonely. So,
following that press conference, the expectations were set for the New Jersey Jets: Super Bowl or bust. Following the Rodgers trade, Jets general manager Joe Douglas immediately began assembling a team with other former Green Bay Packers like wide receiver Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Rodgers' former offensive coordinator and recently fired Denver Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett. And honestly, if you're trying to emulate what the Buccaneers did, those moves could make some level of sense. When Tom Brady got to Tampa Bay after the Patriots didn't re-sign him in 2020, he convinced the Buccaneers to trade for his longtime reliable all-pro tight end Rob Gronkowski, who agreed to come out of retirement for the chance to play with Brady in Tampa Bay. Brady also convinced the organization to sign Antonio Brown, who played with Brady briefly in New England. Having said that, I think the problem with Joe Douglas trying to emulate that same plan for Rodgers is he didn't emulate it quite close enough. It's not like Tom Brady had the Buccaneers bring in just anyone he used to play with in New England. He had them bring in his closest friend and clear future Hall of Fame tight end. Not to be mean, but I don't see Allen Lazard or Randall Cobb making it into the Hall of Fame. Everything was looking good for the Jets ahead of the 2023 season. It looked like they were finally going to have a reliable quarterback. They were being featured on Hard Knocks. They had the most scheduled primetime games. Everyone seemed to be expecting big things for the Jets in 2023. Unfortunately for the Jets, as it always seems to go, nothing went according to plan. Rodgers only played 4 snaps in 2023 before tearing his Achilles, causing him to miss the remainder of the season, a season where the Jets once again missed the playoffs. In the 2024 offseason, the Jets traded away Zach Wilson, who was once believed to be the future of the franchise. They also let defensive end Bryce Huff test free agency, where he signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles then turned around and traded their defensive end, who they were in a contract dispute with, Hassan Reddick, to the Jets. Reddick's holdout with the Jets lasted into the regular season. More on that in a few moments. Also during the offseason, Aaron Rodgers missed the Jets' mandatory minicamp, speculatively to attend an ayahuasca retreat, which personally, I'd take huge exception to if I was a member of the New Jersey Jets. Aaron Rodgers is the starting quarterback. He's supposed to be an extension of the coaching staff. He's supposed to be completely invested in the team and bought in. He's getting paid $38 million to be a member of this team, but his priorities just aren't there. He's prioritizing a personal trip of some sort. And look, especially following an Achilles injury, you'd think that Aaron would want to be at all of the workouts so that he can try and build that chemistry with his wide receiver that he missed out on when he missed all of last season due to injury. By preseason, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Douglas, and Robert Saleh all felt the pressure of a do-or-die season, causing Aaron to say this in a press conference.
If I don't do what I know I'm capable of doing, we're all probably going to be out of here. So,
fast forward 5 games into the season, the Jets fire Robert Saleh as their head coach, promote defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich to interim head coach. They pulled Nathaniel Hackett from offensive play calling duties, all within a 24-hour period. And to be honest, I don't really understand the logic of that plan. First of all, if Robert Saleh's leash was so short that a 2-3 start to the season could get him fired, clearly it didn't have that much faith in him to begin with. You would have been better off firing him before this past offseason. But fine, for whatever reason, Woody Johnson decided after the London game that he's seen enough. Now is the time that Robert Saleh needs to go. So once you make that decision, you've got to decide on an interim head coach. Okay, I get that. One of the bright spots on the Jets through 5 weeks was the defense. So pulling the defensive coordinator to be the interim head coach doesn't make a lot of sense to me unless you're already giving up on the season. If you're already giving up on the season and you go, hey, Ulbrich is doing such a good job, we want to evaluate him as a potential head coaching candidate. Okay, then it could make sense why you'd want him to take over the interim position, just so you can see what that looks like in a limited sample size, a strange scenario. But you get to see him as a head coach. It's worked out before where interims became head coaches. Just last year, Antonio Pierce was the interim and ended up getting the job to be the Raiders head coach. But the Jets weren't really in a scenario where they could give up on the season just yet. They were only 1 game back from the lead in the division. So the season was far from lost at that point. Once again, why I wouldn't have fired the head coach. But if it were me and we already fired Robert Saleh, I think I would have kept Ulbrich in his position as a defensive coordinator. Let's not change what's working. Let's change what isn't working. They already decided they were going to pull Nathaniel Hackett from offensive play calling duties. So I would have made Nathaniel Hackett my interim head coach because at least he has head coaching experience. And look, I know what you're thinking. Nathaniel Hackett didn't do a great job with the Broncos. That's true. Russell Wilson deciding to have the worst season of his career didn't exactly help Hackett. I guess you could make the same argument for Aaron Rodgers now, but we'll get to that. Following the Saleh firing, the Jets lost a close game to the Bills on a play where Rodgers and Mike Williams weren't on the same page. Like I said earlier, maybe if Rodgers was at minicamp, maybe if he was at all the offseason workouts, working on that chemistry with his wide receiver, maybe stuff like that doesn't happen. Maybe execution is a lot better, a lot crisper. You're a lot more on the same page if you actually work out with your wide receivers. I don't know. It's a crazy idea on my part. The Jets went on to trade for Davante Adams and lost to the Steelers. But then the Jets finally worked out an agreement with Hassan Reddick, ending his holdout from the team since trading for him in the offseason, and lost to the Patriots. I mean, it was kind of a funny 3 to 4 week stretch for the Jets fans because the organization kept making moves to give fans hope just to blow it and let them down anyway. And it's all in line with the Big Cat quote, dysfunctional organizations do dysfunctional things. Speaking of which, the Jets just a few weeks ago fired general manager Joe Douglas. And now, following the Jets blowing a 21-7 lead over the Seahawks in a game where the visiting Hawks would go on to win, go Hawks, the Jets interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich finds himself fielding questions about whether Aaron Rodgers will still be the starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. And to be honest, it's a very fair question. Right now, Aaron Rodgers has the worst QBR of his career. He's making poor decisions with the football, something he's always been famous for not doing. And honestly, I'm wondering how much of Aaron Rodgers' focus is on football at this point. He's blowing off mini camp for personal trips. He spent a portion of the offseason contemplating the possibility of getting into politics and being Robert F. Kennedy's vice president running mate. He's got a Netflix documentary coming out. Look, if I'm Jeff Ulbrich, I think I'm starting Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season. He said he wants to play through week 17. He said that on Pat McAfee yesterday. I don't really see the harm in letting him continue to play. If he keeps playing just as poorly as he has up to this point in the year, great. The Jets get to keep a high draft pick, and they might end up with the number 1 pick overall. Who knows? If he starts to play well, then maybe there's a chance that the new regime, when they come in, the new head coach, new general manager, maybe they want to keep Aaron for a year. Maybe they want to draft somebody and develop them under Aaron for a year. If they don't want to keep Aaron and they decide to cut him, I'm not really sure what his market is at this point. His skills have deteriorated. He doesn't display strong leadership qualities. His commitment to the organization has huge question marks surrounding it. I figure somebody will want Aaron Rodgers. Off the top of my head, I could see the Raiders potentially signing him as a bridge quarterback while they develop somebody. I could see the Giants signing him as a bridge quarterback while they develop somebody. But I don't see a lot of teams lining up. And the thing that Rodgers is also going to have to take into account is that these teams that might be interested in signing him, I don't think any of them are going to be contenders. Let me know what you think in the comment section about all of this. Do you think Aaron Rodgers has anything left in the tank? Do you think he's going to play in 2025? If he does play, do you know who he's going to play for? Where's a good fit that I'm not thinking of? I'm curious to know what you guys think. Aside from that, I'm Seattle Mike on the mic. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.